calls Han Solo a bitch.
Bring him on. I prefer a straight fight to all the sneaking around.
I don't know where you get your delusions, laser brain.
Oh, come on, bro. It's the wars.
All right, we're in the third week of Andor, and we really know it. We've had a good look at the logo. This is The Wars and More. I'm Joe. And of course, with me is my good buddy Doug. Hey, Doug, how you doing this week?
Doing pretty good, Joe. How you doing?
I'm doing all right. Oh, really seen that logo, man.
Yeah.
I mean, we're going to get into the show a little later on, but I got to say.
Okay.
When I get to click skip intro.
Yeah.
Skip the damn intro.
Right. Yeah.
I guess the only intro you get to skip now is the Disney Plus Star Wars, Vader's helmet and
right. All the heads.
Yeah.
That is funny because I did take note of that, though it clearly didn't bother me as much as it did you.
Oh, it's bugging the crap out of me.
But I did take note of that.
You know what it is though? It's not so much that you hit skip intro and you get to see the logo.
Uh-huh.
But that thing takes like 30 damn seconds.
That is part of it, right? that slow like reveal of what it is. It's like, okay, we know what it is now. So
yeah, it's like every week I was
speed it up.
I wonder what it is.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, my first look at it today, I was sitting in my car on my lunch break, right? And I'm sure people were looking at me because it's like it starts and I'm like, oh, come on.
Yeah. You're pressed for time. You got to get as much Star Wars in as you can.
Why we even put this button here? Like, I don't even want to like hit, skip 30 seconds.
Right.
Because then I'll miss like the first 3 words.
Exactly. And then the whole show's out of context.
Yep. And then because then you're like, oh, I got to try and back it up a little bit. And you're just in this hole of going too far.
Yep. A vicious cycle.
So,
deadly loop.
But we know the show's called Andor.
Yeah, for sure.
All right. Mark Hamill.
Right. Mark Hamill. He apparently talked to Volodymyr Zelensky from Ukraine, and he spoke to the BBC about it, and it's interesting, I guess, what he had to say, and I have some thoughts, and take a listen.
He did reference the movies, and it's not hard to understand why. I mean, Star Wars was always a fairy tale for children, and fairy tales are morality tales of good versus evil, where good is clearly defined, evil is clearly defined, and it's not hard to extrapolate an evil empire with Russia invading a sovereign nation. So it's not surprising, and that's probably what appealed to him about me, is that those movies touch so many people all around the world. I never expected it, A, to have that kind of global appeal, and B, to have lasted as long as it has. But it is a chance to use it for good, and I feel a great responsibility to try and do everything I can to further the Ukrainian cause.
So it's funny how he looks at this, like this comparison of what's going on in Ukraine with Russia and invading, and the good and evil of Star Wars, and looks at it from such a high level that it's, this empire and all of that, where, you can look at any situation, and you can take the mythical story tropes that exist in Star Wars and apply them to pretty much anything. So that's, it's not wrong that he's doing that, but I have always looked at Star Wars as the individual stories happening inside this greater thing going on. You know what I'm saying? That's where I really like the Star Wars stories, when it gets granular. And it's, in some ways, because Star Wars is done as well as it has, is done as well as it was done story-wise, right? Using all these mythologies and stuff. Putin could probably look at it the same way. It's like, you can always, from whatever angle you're looking at a situation, you can apply what's going on to Star Wars and apply it to whatever's happening. It's you know what I'm saying?
Always a certain point of view, right?
Yes.
Sure, the Empire never thought they were the bad guys.
Exactly. That's the idea. That's the, my thought behind it. And
was it Robot Chicken, or like, wait, are we the bad guys?
Right. Yes, exactly. Which, I'm not looking to get into a debate about who's good and bad, right?
Not.
Because clearly, invading another country is a horrible thing. But
horrible thing. It's
just funny because I've always heard people talk about, make the comparison of Star Wars from their points of view, if it's politics, whatever side of the aisle they're on, or if it's, whatever situation is happening.
It always gets skewed one way or the other.
Exactly. And
I'll say this. I'll take a more cynical approach to this.
Sure.
Okay. Like he says, it's easy to understand why he brought up Star Wars. Yeah. He's talking to Mark Hamill.
Exactly.
I'm pretty sure he's not going to bring up Star Wars when he's talking to Robert Downey Jr.
Right.
He said that. I'm like, okay, yeah. I mean, I'm not gonna talk to you about the Avengers.
Right. I mean,
if I'm talking to Mark Hamill, I'm gonna be like, hey, Star Wars.
I mean, you think about it like this, though. If Zelensky could be like, this whole situation that's happening reminds me of the Joker. Yeah. Nope. It's like,
right.
I mean, unless you want to compare Putin to the Joker, which I guess you could do, but
that, I guess. I don't know. I always find it irritating with like, I'm just trying to do my part.
Yeah.
Video call with Zelensky.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I know.
I'm sure Putin's gonna go, oh shit, he's talking to Hamill.
Exactly.
So it's that celebrity thing, right? It drives me nuts.
No, I know exactly where you're coming from.
Celebrity version of changing your profile picture.
Right. Yeah.
So I don't know. Like normally I'm all like, yeah, I love Mark Hamill on Twitter. This one I was just like, yeah.
Yeah, I understand. I mean,
everybody wants to feel like they're doing good in the world, right? Like,
right.
And to encourage them, things like that. Sure, I guess you're doing some good, I guess. But I mean, it ain't gonna stop an army.
Exactly.
So.
Exactly. I think that is going to take world leaders willing to negotiate as opposed to, an actor,
Yeah.
But
yeah.
Yeah.
Hey. And like you said, without going too far, but I think there's better people to be talking to.
Agreed.
You're spending your time talking to celebrities.
But hey,
hey, yeah, like I said, don't want to go down that.
Right.
Yep.
If
I have no idea. I'm not in a war zone.
hopefully Mark was able to inspire and
Right.
help with the resolve of Ukraine and fighting on. But it's I don't know. The comparisons to Star Wars are a little, I don't know. Sometimes I hate it when things get mixed into the real world from Star Wars. That's yeah.
Hey, if it, like you said, if it inspires people,
Right.
I guess there is some good there.
That's what it was meant to do, originally for all of us. But for me, I've always looked at it like it's the individual stories, right? It's the story of the farm boy, right?
Mhm.
Of the smuggler. Those are the things, from my personal opinion, to take the inspiration from,
Right.
and how these individuals, as part of a team, played their parts to make this grander thing happen,
Mhm.
and that's where true inspiration comes from Star Wars for me, so.
All right. On to lighter stuff here.
Yeah.
More uplifting.
Yes.
So Broadway's Court Theater is being renamed
Okay.
to the James Earl Jones Theater.
Nice.
So last week we talked about A Knighthood, right? For John Williams.
Yeah.
This is kind of like the American version, right?
Yeah. Kind of. I mean,
for someone in
theater.
in theater and stuff like that, this would be like getting knighted, right?
Yeah. Heck yeah.
Broadway. I mean, a Broadway theater being named after you, that's a big deal.
That's pretty cool. Yeah. I like it.
Yeah. I mean, there's no doubt he's a legend in cinema, theater.
Right.
So very cool.
Very cool.
All right. So the press tour continues,
Right.
which really wild, right? Like it's not so much that it continues, like it always continues,
Right. Yeah, exactly.
but the frequency.
Yeah.
It's like almost daily I see a new interview
Yes.
with either Tony Gilroy or Diego Luna.
Yes, this is true.
And was there no one else on this show?
No, it was I think he was talking to Vanity Fair. I think that was the
No. I meant on Andor. Because
Oh,
there's like two people talking.
right, yeah. Well, with Celebration and stuff, we had a lot of other people, being interviewed and stuff. Problem was, they were saying a lot of the same stuff,
Right.
And not that there's anything too much more enlightening with this, but just he has some thoughts on the character all around and stuff. So, gives us a little insight, I guess, as to why he liked the idea of the character and his role in Rogue One from the start.
So this is basically the reason why I was so happy to play this role and so excited about the idea of being part of this universe, because I thought it was so bold, so interesting, so unique to have an ending like this, and there's been a lot. I mean, I remember people saying like we shot different endings, and just to be clear, the day I was offered this role, I knew this was it. It was one film, and I knew what the end was going to be. And it's one of the things that excited me the most, that Star Wars was gonna do that, was gonna show what sacrifice means, and was gonna go for it.
So that seems to put a kibosh on some rumors that we were hearing back then. Like they had different endings and they were focus grouping it and, seeing which one the fans like best and all that. But,
Right. And I think what really drives that was the running across the beach carrying the data tapes, right?
Right. That was a big one. Yeah.
That really fueled that. And, and it was the stolen data tapes, right? Like,
Yep.
So you figure they got off
Exactly.
of the planet,
Right.
so it's an easy jump to make.
Well,
But
going into Rogue One, we didn't know that these characters were going to meet their doom here on Scarif. There was also thoughts of, maybe they get away and during the events of A New Hope, they're off on another mission, or during the events of the original trilogy as a whole, they're off doing something else. But as it turned out, that wasn't the case. We know what happened, and, it's,
hell, everybody thought we were going to see Bothans, right? Like,
yeah, right. Yeah. Except that wasn't till Return of the Jedi, right? So,
right.
But,
no, I'm just saying that it was a thing.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
They thought that,
well,
they didn't think that, Bothans only did it in, Return of the Jedi.
Right.
Just assumed if there was a secret mission, infiltration,
yes,
stuff like that.
Yes,
It
exactly.
had to be the Bothans.
Right, because every Star Wars species has a specialty in something, right?
Right. I'm just saying that was the thought.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Totally. So he goes a little further into. He liked the idea of it just being one film and not, not a trilogy or something.
I thought it was a very, very smart move also, since the audience of Star Wars is, it's so wide, it's like goes from my father to my son, basically. So there was a big chunk of the audience that has grown, since the beginning of Star Wars. And this was a very mature, dark, interesting approach to Star Wars that I thought was needed, as a fan. And with this film, we were allowed to be different. It was a standalone. It had a beginning and an end, not like everything else in Star Wars. I remember having to answer the question of like, how does it feel? For how long are you going to be in Star Wars? How many films you're going to do? And I just couldn't answer, but I knew that was it. And in fact, to me, it made complete sense that I was just there for one film. It's a language I speak, it's like, okay, I'm committing for a film that has a beginning and an end that I'm going to shoot, then promote, then release, and then watch as part of the audience again, and that's it. It's over. It was really nice.
Yeah. So, I don't know. He liked the idea. Just let's get in, do it, be done, and
I like that he doesn't like. It's honest, right?
Yeah.
Honest. He's like, I was going to be in, done.
Right.
Don't have to do it again.
Right.
Don't have to wonder when I'm going to do it again, if I'm going to do it again. It's over.
And he's acknowledging that there's something in this one film for everybody, right? His fans are from his father's age to his son's age, and it's a wide swath of fans. Mm-hmm. And to understand that, helps make, for a lot of people, Rogue One to be the best offering from Disney that we've had in Star Wars. So,
right. I would like to make the argument, though.
What argument?
Because he says, unlike everything else in this universe, this film has a beginning and an end.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
right.
I thought
New
you might
Hope
bring
had a
this up.
beginning and an end.
It did. It did. Yeah.
It stood alone.
Yes. Yeah, totally.
Ironically, this was done that same way, and it's I think that's one of the pieces of the formula that makes it so great.
Right.
It was made without an intent.
You know, it's funny. It does have a beginning, middle, and end, but it also has that connector. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it was done. It was very clever the way they did that because it made it fit, made it feel right.
Mm-hmm.
So, here's what he has to say after talking about, you know, doing one movie, getting in, getting done, getting out.
Yeah, this is Andor. After everything I said about Rogue One, I got a phone call. I got a phone call from Lucasfilm saying, "Would you be willing to explore the possibility of revisiting the character and telling the story of its past, the background of Cassian?" And I was really excited, to be honest. But besides going back to this universe and working with these people again, it made sense. You know, for me, Rogue One is a film that is pretty much about an event, but you don't get to know where these characters come from, why they do what they do, what takes someone to feel ready to sacrifice everything for a cause, you know?
Whoa. I thought the first one had everything.
Exactly. Except the backstory, right?
Right. Oh, no. I mean, I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
Like, just being a smartass.
Yeah. Not you, Joe.
I know, right? I know. Crazy. Crazy. But, yeah, I get it. Like, I could see where that intrigue would be, and especially after seeing the reaction to it.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And, you know,
I'm sure that alone would get you re-geeked up for that character.
yeah. And,
You know, you were satisfied with what you did.
yes.
And you were satisfied with the deal you made. But then you see the reaction that everybody loves it as much as you did. And, you know, you get that validation. And then they call you back and be like, yeah, you see that? Like,
right. It's, you know, it's funny.
and I get more money this time because that was great.
It's funny when you think about it because he had the benefit of being able to step away from Star Wars for a few more years than, say, somebody who's in the sequels or something, or the prequels, or the originals. You know, they were pretty much on Star Wars for, you know, better part of a decade, you know, constant. Whereas he got to do Rogue One, step away, do some other stuff, you know, see the giant reception that Rogue One has had, and then get a phone call and say, hey, how about we do this other thing with that character? He's like, yeah, I could do that, you know?
You know, the other thing that would have been great about that stepping away from it too is they were doing the other stuff. So he got to step away very quietly.
Yeah, totally.
He got to be left alone.
Yeah, because it was right in the middle of all that.
You know, and he's got a couple things going for him there, right? His character's dead.
Right? What a bonus, yeah.
Well, I'm just saying, like, as far as, like, being left alone.
Yeah, sure,
Like,
sure.
no one's going to bug him about a sequel. They blowed him up.
Yes, yes, they did.
And then, secondly, there was other stuff going on, so they're not even thinking about asking, like, when's the next Rogue One thing? Is there a prequel to Rogue One?
Right,
You know, it wasn't even in the cards to be discussed at the time.
right. And that, you know, if I remember correctly, after the movie came out and he might have been doing some interviews, some people might have asked that question,
Right.
but it wasn't even, like, you know, top of mind for him, you know, that could be a possibility, you know. I'm sure it was just a generic, you know, it could happen, maybe one day, who knows, blah, 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 that sort of thing. But, you know, it wasn't
Standard.
really, yeah, any real thought given to it, you know, until we got that phone call.
Well, I mean, and I don't think without Disney Plus, like, I don't think it would have even been
Agreed.
considered.
Because doing what they're doing, yes, you need a television series in order to do it, not another film. That's for sure.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. Telling this story the way they are, I think it's got to be done in a series for sure.
Well, they really want to make sure you know this guy when you're done.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
So.
Apparently so. So one last thing he had to say was about like the getting a different look at Star Wars from different points of view here.
This is just people surviving, and it's about the whole show is about how the rebellion articulates, it's about the awakening of a revolution. This is Cassian a few years before, when he doesn't know he's capable of doing what he does in Rogue One, and we'll see the journey of a man that gets to be the guy you met in Rogue One.
So not a lot there, but I like the what he said at the beginning there. This is just people getting by, and that's it. Shows like this, this almost goes back to what we were talking about at the start here, but shows like this can lead you down a path to think about, okay, what would I do in a certain scenario? What in a worst case scenario, how would I react? Right? We all like to think we'd react, to the best of our ability, and you never know until you're put in a situation like that. And I think that's what we're getting to see with this show is, how he reacts with all this going on. So,
yeah.
And how all the regular people act and react. Because, everyone's just trying to get their, do their thing. They all got their little side hustles going on and stuff. And we've seen already that can get squashed by the Empire real quick.
Right. Yeah. All right. So is that the last of those?
That was the last of those. Yes.
All right. So we can go right into this week's episode.
Heck yeah.
So, yeah, I made a little joke in there. Like, they're really focused on character building with him. I mean, really focused.
Right.
I mean, they haven't done anything yet in 2 episodes.
Right.
But I guess that's not true, right? They're showing the stress, right?
Stress is one descriptor I would definitely use for this episode. Yes.
Yeah. They're showing the stress of leading up to that event, and it even gets spoken about.
Yep. Yeah. Oh yeah. The day before is always the worst, right?
Yeah. Yeah. So, I dig that. I do dig it.
Yeah. I've got a different angle on the stress though. Go ahead, but go ahead.
Well, I mean, they're showing the stress of like I said, leading up to it and the tension, especially with him being thrown in and things like that.
Right.
There's trust issues there.
Oh yeah, totally.
And they even address the fear, right?
Right.
So I thought that was a cool angle. Like, they're really humanizing these characters because, we're not dealing with Force users, Jedi, going in, being the top dog, right?
Right. Yeah. With the Jedi, you pretty much know what you got, you know what their purpose is. Here we're getting in from both ways, right? The crew is skeptical about Andor, and Andor is skeptical about, the crew. And, isn't it funny that they don't really trust him until he lets the cat out of the bag? He's like, look, I'm getting paid.
Right.
And it's like, well, okay, if that's your thing, and when you really think about it, how are you supposed to look at that? It's like, okay, well, clearly he wants to get out of this so he can get his money.
Right.
and spend it however he's going to want to. He doesn't want to go in there and blow this mission. If that's what he's in it for, that's what he's in it for, you know? So he wants to get out of this just like all the rest of us. So, you know, for some, it's, you know, giving a real blow to the Empire. For him, it's the money. Well, if both means, you know, meet the same end, then great, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, that worked for me. I'm going to come back to the stress part from what I saw, but I liked how they're feeling him out, you know, like just how valuable are you going to be to us, you know how to operate this ship launching off of this what they call it
Rail?
Huh?
The rail?
Yeah, the rail. Yeah. It's attached to the rail. You know how to do it, how to recalculate the load and all that. And, you know, he's learning that it's like, wow, these guys aren't as like, you know, on point as they should be here. And
yeah, you don't even know to wait.
Exactly. Exactly. And then, you know, when they're practicing marching and stuff, and he's like, "Hey, maybe we should switch sides here because you know, got lefty and a righty kind of thing going on." And you know, it's like they're not actually catching all of the minute details that Andor is picking up on. You know, and they, I like how they quiz him. You know. Who's right-handed, left-handed, and this and that. And he's like, he's got it all down. You know, he's just very observant. So they're learning throughout all this process just how valuable he can be to the team, I think.
Yeah. Shoot, I just lost my thought. Hate it when that happens.
Yeah. Also, in that scene where they, you know, were marching and all that, and then they had to like ditch the guns and all that, and all of a sudden the TIE fighter's going by, and the TIE fighter comes back by and kind of strays him a little bit. It's like, wow, what a dick, you know? I mean, you know, that's just, you know, this typical Empire for you, right?
Right.
Like,
It's
we're gonna
like,
go down there, scare all the cattle. We're gonna, you know, scare all these peasants down there. That's what the pilot's thinking, I'm sure. Is like, you know, I mean,
oh, it's definitely a, you know, they're on top of their pedestal there.
oh yeah, totally.
Oh yeah, my thought.
Yes.
Came back to me.
Excellent.
Yeah, he's pointing out to them like, look, you got to look like you've thought everything through.
Right.
Like you're marching, and you're marching with every advantage.
Right.
Like you know, military would.
Yep.
You know, there's even in your formation, you're looking for that advantage.
Right.
So you got to look organized.
Yep. And that all of that stuff is the kind of stuff that, you know, the military of the Empire would learn over years and years and years, right? Or even adapt from what they knew from the Republic Army, you know.
Right. And then you mentioned the strafing run and stuff, and I said from that pedestal, you know, that arrogance.
Right.
There's going to be a desire for a look of uniformity too,
Yes.
just because it looks good.
Exactly. But all that kind of stuff is stuff that they've been taught over years, where Andor is just picking up on it. You know, this looks different than what I'm used to seeing, kind of thing. You know,
Well, we're seeing why he was so sought after, like why what was his name?
Luthen.
Why he was so interested in Andor.
Yes.
he's got the mind for this.
Right.
You know, he's got that espionage mind. Like,
Yep. He knew.
Pick up those little details, because if you gotta, like you said, you walk in like you belong.
Yes, exactly.
You gotta know how you gotta look to look like you belong.
Yep.
He gets that by, you know, scouting them out, figuring it out.
Right.
Okay, they do this every day at this time. I'll just blend in.
Yeah, totally.
They wouldn't expect someone to just walk in like they're supposed to be there.
Exactly.
You know, it's like those guys on YouTube that were getting into movies because they were walking in with a ladder.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they were just like wearing like work shirts and stuff and carrying a ladder and walking right in.
Nice. Wow. So, I'd like to go back to the stress we were talking about.
Yes.
Nowhere in this episode did I feel it more than with the Mon Mothma scenes.
Yes, and I wish they would have explored that more.
Yeah, me too. Because, my God, was there ever a tension there?
Oh yeah, and it's really kind of it's kind of what we expected from this character.
To a degree, yeah. I mean, I think we knew there was going to be some juggling of you know, starting up this rebellion and you know, the politics. And the part that's taken me by surprise a little bit is the family life, you know, and the stresses.
No, that's the part I really dig, is they're throwing that into the mix as well.
Exactly.
And that's what I'm saying. I kind of expected that. You know, she is 100% worried about this cause.
Right.
And doing this, but yet her family sees it as self-absorption, right?
Right.
She's worried about her.
Right.
Like,
Exactly.
That's interesting.
Yep.
And really, like, yeah, I guess that's how it would go down, right?
Yeah, totally. I when you think about it, this birth of a rebellion thing she's got going on, she's got to keep that a secret from everybody, right? She's keeping it a secret from her family to keep them safe.
Mm-hmm.
But they won't understand that because they haven't been able to talk about that. You know what I'm saying? So they just view it as her being selfish, not even knowing what this, you know, what some of what she's doing is all about, right? You know, I didn't think you'd be interested in this new foundation. It's a charitable foundation, you know, and it's like that's I don't know, a sideways way of looking at what she's doing. You know, personally, I'm thinking, okay, this is a good way to funnel money to the rebellion, is what it is. But you know, it's I love I love the fact that they're putting that element into it, you know, this family stress, and I feel it. Like, I feel tense watching it, which that's good because it's what it's trying to make you feel. So,
right. You know, we talked off mic last week. I said I wanted to bring something up, but I was like, no, I don't want that to seem like that's my focus watching Star Wars.
okay.
But I gotta ask. So, Mon Mothma definitely has style.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, like, when we get to Return of the Jedi, she's just dressed like she's in a monastery.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, I know. She's got the
this white, like,
drapes.
drapes. Yeah.
Pulled the drapes down off the picture window, wrapped them around her. Here I am.
Yep. I'm like, this is interesting.
Well,
and that's how she showed up in Clone Wars, right?
I believe so. Yeah, something like that. It's funny because there's
And in Rogue One.
yeah, I think so. But with this, just like the prequels to some extent, right? I hate to make this comparison because there really is no comparison, but and I think you said you've never seen it, but it reminds me of the capital city in the Hunger Games, right? Where there's nothing but excess,
Mm-hmm.
And outlandish styles and things of that nature. And it's more subtle here in Andor. It's not as outlandish, and in the Hunger Games it's almost clownish, right?
Mm-hmm.
Here it's more I don't want to say realistic, but it's more believable, just how people dress and the things that they focus on and what they're worried about. Perrin worried about the dinner party last episode,
Right.
and things of that nature. And, they're playing their role like cogs in a machine, and basically their reward is to be able to live that opulent life, So, I don't know. I don't know where I'm going with that necessarily, but, but it just,
Hate it when that happens.
yeah, I know. There was a point I was going to make about that, but, definitely shows the dichotomy between Coruscant and, other reaches of the galaxy for sure. I mean, we're seeing Andor, sleeping in a hammock and, living a filthy, dirty lifestyle, or, and, Mon Mothma, pristine white environment,
Right.
It's
And always dressed like she's headed to the opera.
exactly, there you go. Yeah. Always. So definitely see the dichotomy there. But they're both going to end up fighting for the same cause, So
Right.
that much we know.
Right. Yeah, I mean, just something I noticed.
Yeah. Yeah.
But all right.
Okay. You got something? Go.
No, go ahead. You got something?
Okay. Okay. You had a gripe earlier, right? The title card.
Yep.
All right. I just want to say, early on when we saw the trailer and everything, we talked about some of the weapons, and it's like, okay, these are real world weapons. You guys got to put some, more junk on them or something,
Mm-hmm.
And here in this episode, oh, look, a Polaroid camera. It's like, okay, come on, guys. Just a few extra Greeblies or something. Stick them on there. Make it, Star Wars it up a little bit. At least for me. I mean, I come from an era where those cameras were all over the place. It's like,
Right.
it's funny how the conversation was talking about how this is old technology, you can learn how to use it and be free. It's like, yeah, when you think about it, okay, I kind of get the comparison a little bit. If they were trying to make that comparison, if not, it works out. But,
I really hate the hassle of going down to the Photoshop these days to get my film developed.
exactly. Yes. But, I don't know. I hate that sometimes when I see stuff and it's like, oh, I know what that is. It's like, stop it. You guys got to make it so I don't know what that is,
Right.
You like the function of how it pops up and everything. I get it. It works good for a quote unquote Star Wars device, but yeah, Star Wars it up a little.
Yeah, I mean, I'm with you at least a little bit.
Right.
Yeah, I'm with you there.
Yeah.
All right. So, do you think that where we're at, it gets going next week? They start this thing?
I think we're gonna see the start of it anyway. I don't know if we're gonna get a conclusion to the raid or the infiltration or not, but I think we're gonna see things start to go down. Yeah.
Right.
I let me make a prediction. They're gonna get in there and something's gonna go wrong. That's just a formulaic television right there. But
yeah, I just hope the raid doesn't take 7 more episodes.
Oh, right.
Yeah, if they keep ending this thing in the middle, I'll be like, what the?
I don't think so, because I think there's something else that we have to get to in this show, in this season, in my opinion. And that is a meeting somehow between Andor and Mon Mothma. You look back at Rogue One, they had different roles, but they were tight. I think they have to meet. And I think they have to meet in season 1 here, establish a relationship, and season 2, which is going to be covering the course of 4 years, could be, Mon Mothma sending Cassian on different missions to get different things done. So, you know what I mean? I think that's got to happen still. So I think this raid might be an episode or 2, but then we're gonna change course in the plot to finish out the season.
All right. One more thing I wanted to bring up.
Okay.
Is it Gorn? Lieutenant Gorn?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
I like the way he's handling things.
Oh yeah.
To reduce staffing,
Right. Yeah.
and then immediately goes, "This isn't painted."
Right.
I guess a shift tomorrow night will remind you about your duties, things like that.
Yeah.
He makes them ask for him to get them out of there.
Exactly.
Oh, that's clever.
Yeah. Yeah. Because you're never going to suspect him of making it a skeleton crew when it's the staffers themselves who want it to be that way. So yeah, it is clever. I mean, I picked up on that as well right away, and it was like, I see what you're doing there. That's awesome.
Yeah, I was right away like, you clever bastard.
Yep. Yeah. I don't think it was meant to be subtle to the point where we wouldn't catch that. I think it was meant to be right up there for us to...
No, his grin walking away was...
Oh, yeah, totally.
That giveaway, like, ha, ha, ha.
Yeah.
Very cheeky, right? Like,
yep. He's basically down there setting everything up for the raid or the infiltration there without any of his underlings realizing what he's doing. So
I will say this. With all the subtleties and everything they're doing to make it look good, do this, their signal was a dude standing on the hill waving a torch.
Yeah, I know.
I'm like, oh, that's conspicuous.
Right. Yeah, I know. But I guess, they're supposed to be like the primitives, I guess, camping out there by the fire. I don't know.
Well, I really hope when the other ones show up, they just wave torches around, because it's like, oh, I see why that wasn't a big deal.
Exactly. That would make sense.
But otherwise, it's like, yeah.
So I gotta say this too. all the talking up they've done of this celestial thing that's going to be happening that day, the eye or whatever they call it. I'm kind of excited to see how that goes down and what it looks like. It's like, okay, all right, you've made a big deal out of this in anticipation. I can't wait to see it because it sounds like it's going to look cool, So be interesting to see.
Even all the Imperials are like, we got to see this thing.
Right. Yeah, we're stationed here. It's only fair.
Like, the only way you're happy about your deployment here is if you get to see it.
Yeah.
Well, this better be cool.
That's funny. It's funny how even in that little thing that they're describing, they've got the excitement built up for me. Yeah. It's good.
Oh, another thing. What's his name? Man, I'm horrible with these names. The guy that finds the Kyber.
Oh, Skeen?
Skeen.
Something like that? Something like
that. So when he finds the Kyber.
Yeah.
I wonder, is Cassian pissed when this dude says, like, it's worth 30,000? After Luthen told him don't take less than 50?
I know. Of course, he's not going to tell the guy that, because then it's like, well, I guess I'm not giving it back now.
Man, that's 20,000 short.
Right. Yeah. You don't know what you have. Yeah, I thought the same thing. It's like, you probably got old book data there.
Right.
Its value.
Well, he's the expert. But the other guy seems like a guy that would know. Okay, maybe it's the groups, right? Luthen would be selling to, higher end clients.
Oh, right. Yes. 30
This
probably
guy's-
what you could get on the black market. Yeah.
Yeah, that guy's pawning it to a guy like Luthen.
Right.
He's only going to pay 30.
Exactly.
Okay, never mind. We're good.
You always got to include the middleman markup. For sure.
I've watched enough Pawn Stars.
Yeah. Right. But yeah, I don't know. I'm thinking that next episode we're going to actually get to see some of this infiltration go down. Not sure if we'll see their escape out of there. I got a feeling something's going to go wrong for sure. And yeah, I think they're going to wrap that part of it up that they've been building towards within an episode or two here. And then we're going to shift gears and
I'll say this, though.
What's that?
Diego Luna was talking about how unique it was for the ending in Rogue One, right?
Right.
Everyone dies. It would also be unique for this to go off without a hitch.
Yeah, true.
So
I'm just thinking of normal television storytelling,
right.
Something's got to go wrong in the mission. At some point, maybe they get in, they get all the stuff, they get out, but who knows? Maybe there's a tracker on the ship, whatever. Could be.
I think the thing that's really I think the kid's going to die.
You think so, Nemec?
Yeah.
Oh, the one true believer in the cause.
I know.
Oh, that'd be rough. I kind of like that character.
I know. I was thinking the same thing, but I'm watching this episode. I'm going, oh man, he's going to die.
Yeah. Well, I could see
But
that.
he's going to be happy about it.
Yeah. He dies for the cause. Yeah.
Yep.
He'll be okay about it.
But yeah, I'm with you. I like the character. I like all these characters. It's cool. It's a cool squad.
Yeah, for sure.
It's got every element going.
Yeah.
All right. If you have anything to add, you can always email us, show@thewarsandmore.com. That's the best way to get a hold of us. We're also on social media, @thewarsandmore on Twitter, facebook.com/thewarsandmore. You find all that and all the ways to find the show over at thewarsandmore.com. Any final thoughts this week, Doug?
No, I think we about covered it.
All right. We will talk next week.